the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Seabird.
Hey, how's everybody doing? It's great to have everybody back again. Hey, this is Combat Vet Vision. This is where I talk about a lot of different things. I talk about my own opinions, my life stories, situations that are true and real and consistent or non-consistent. This is not everybody's veteran path by no means. So what we talk about here is our own opinions. I got another combat vet that's coming on. He's going to give you his story, his situation. You know, it's true to every word that he's thinking about or putting it together as. And you know, this is our opinions. There's a lot of problems with apparently podcasts talking about some stuff this week and everything that's kicking off with Spotify having to screen and go through a lot of different things. But you know, for misinformation, this is not misinformation by no means. This is information that has actually happened to me or actually happened to this individual or whoever our story is, or how they've interacted with our combat vets as our sponsors, supporters, and volunteers. So keep that in mind. And this is coming to you from sitchradio.com. They are the host, and Brian Colburn is the producer of my show, with Joey on deck running everything for us and pushing the buttons and making it happen. I'm so glad that they kind of pushed me into this direction. It wasn't a direction that I was very keen on, but hey, you know what? This helps us kind of isolate and put our stories out there in some different ways and get some really great information out there. And I have Jacob Mcmillin with me today. Great buddy of mine, Marine Corps veteran. You know, he's gone to combat, come back. He's had to deal with injuries. He's 6 IEDs he lived through. There's a bunch of stuff going on with him. But Jake, hey, thanks a lot for being on my show, buddy. I appreciate it.
Hey, what's up, Aaron? Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to come and express a small amount of my path.
Yeah, you know, and this past goes from, you know, why you joined the Marine Corps, history of your Marine Corps time a little bit, obviously all this combat stuff that you dealt with. And I think the bigger thing, the bigger focus, if you want to focus on that, is your transition. And you know, you went through some really cool transition. I mean, I've known you, I think, almost like 6 or 7 years now. I think we're pushing.
Yeah, you're right. As I was transitioning.
Exactly. And you know, we both went to Wounded Warrior Battalion West together. I mean, I wasn't there with you, but you know, you went through that as well. So I mean, there's a lot of history with a lot of things that you've done and we've done together, but not necessarily at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Small a bit about it. Well, Wounded Warrior Battalion, we'll get to there. But just a small town kid. I come from farm country and oil. It's all oil and farm out in the Central Valley of California. A really tiny town called Taft. I didn't really have much of a choice. The only way out was hop on a train or join the military. So I was like, well, see you later.
And even if you jumped on the train, it could still lead to joining the military.
Oh, yeah. They would have dropped me off at Mets. Like, see you later, buddy. This is your only chance. So, no, I was a bit of a troublemaker. You know, I got expelled from high school, and I was like, man, like, I was looking at all 4 of the main service groups, and I was like, which one is going to scare me the most? Because I've always been a thrill seeker, and I was like, that one. And as they tell you, be careful of what you wish for. I was, you know, a young kid. I was like, man, I want to go to war, and I want to go serve my country. Well, I sure the heck did. You know, but I definitely have to say, also too, my transition, my time in the Marine Corps, I also would like to take part and say thank you to all the rad frickin' Marines I was surrounded. Corpsmen, sorry. I had some rad frickin' corpsmen. I'm serious. I was so fortunate to be surrounded by just just a killer team. Yeah, you had your I guess you say not so good guys, but that was like the one percenters. But for the most part, I was surrounded by such rad dudes, In particular, of course, I want to give my condolences, to my weapons company brothers that we had lost over there. I had two of them that we lost over there, and they were both great, amazing people. One of them was a scout sniper. One of them was did 10 years in the Navy, and he was like, you know what, like this just isn't enough, and he was like, I'm going to the Marine Corps, and those two individuals, Patino and Bailey, they were just two rad freaking dudes. I miss them dearly. And then I also want to thank all my brothers today that are still living. I reach out to them over social media. I talk to them over the phone. I text them. I've got one of the guys coming hopefully this weekend to come hang out, and just sticking together. We're just a bunch, a band of brothers. We may not be blood, but you get us together, and you wouldn't think that. You ever see a bunch of Marines together, and you're like, these are a bunch of rowdy brothers. This is weird.
Very true.
Definitely miss it. But back to what you were saying, that small town boy. My only way out here was the military. Ended up staying out in Southern California after I had done 4 combat tours. I did one in 07 and the whole time I was with 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines. Started out as a rifleman. I ended up getting in a little predicament with my old team leaders and squad leaders, and the first sergeant knew I wasn't the one that started it, so he sent me to weapons company. There was a couple of other guys. We ended up going to weapons company. I ended up doing 4 combat tours with weapons, and each one of them had its own story, but the 2 hardcore deployments were definitely my 3rd and my 4th. Both of those were Sangin Afghanistan. The first Sangin, I got hit by 3 IEDs. Obviously, that in 2010, Sangin was extremely kinetic. It was an everyday thing. It actually became kind of like a job. It was like every morning after prayer, like we knew it was coming. Like, hey, you boys ready? Yep, we're ready. So it was very interesting. The Battle of Musa Kala was a rad freaking fight. Apparently, meeting all those Army guys and other people during our weekly meeting with Warrior Belt Foundation. We were definitely not the only ones to go in there. And by the time 2010 hit, it was still a Taliban stronghold, and we went in there. It's crazy. We went in there multiple times. And the thing is, we should have never left because every time we went in there, they were more and more prepared, and then by the last time, like they had laced the entire hill with IEDs. Like the entire, and then as we were leaving, they were just they were raining in. I want to say hundreds of mortars, just mortaring the crap out of us, But either way, we ended up leaving because we had to go down because the British Royal Marines their posts were getting overran because down in Sangin, the British Royal Marines were down there. We ended up having to leave Musa Kala, and they had a team. I forgot what team stayed up there. I don't know. Another unit might have came in and held Musa Kala because the amount of space they had up there to freely run. They had a lot of ammo. It was definitely a good spot because it was in between 2 large cities. So we went down, went to fight with the British Royal Marines. It was kind of funny because one of the other cat teams. One of my friends, Jeff Mahaffey, and Lieutenant, we were all talking to the British Royal Marines. We were up at the northern base, and they were looking at a tree line, and they were like, the Royal Marines were like, don't cross that line, like it's guaranteed death. And of course, like everybody perks up, like, oh, I want to go. And sure enough, they started the Cat White and Kilo Company started their clear to the river, and they weren't lying. As soon as we crossed that frickin' tree line, like all hell broke loose, and it became a 2.5 week just crazy nonsense until it took 2.5 weeks to reach the river. And then they started pushing north. We went north, me and old Cat White Papa, my platoon sergeant, we went north up to it was like an electric plant, like a transformer. We went up there, and that was not the first time, but it was a very interesting time that we had a run in with the Dishka. If those who don't know, Dishka is like a Soviet anti-aircraft gun. And me and White Papa, we like to cook. We were in a cooking competition, and we were wearing our PPE, of course. And we had the doors open, and we're cooking away. And in the background, you could just hear a chink, 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 chink. And we kind of look at each other like, oh, crap. We didn't think that anybody was up there. Sure enough, they moved the guns over there. But I can go on for days. I have to be totally honest. There's lots of books out there about it. Ronnie, one of our LEPs, our tactical liaisons, wrote like a pretty rad freaking book about it. 2010 was an insane, in your face, like that deployment is so hard to explain. It's like a blur, it was like so intense for so long. Like, I mean, shoot, there's one time we were in Washir, we went 3.5 weeks with 8 hours of sleep. I mean, shoot, everybody's heard the story about Woodridge, and he was. I was luckily, that was my second deployment with Woodridge. He ended up getting to a compound that was heavily infiltrated with Talibs. He went in there and unfortunately ran out of ammo and had to use the Talib's weapon as a weapon. Ended up beating the Talib to death with his own weapon, which is pretty funny. But hey, you shouldn't have been standing there. But either way, after my fourth deployment and that crazy nonsense, I was like a dream. Of course, I had a few concussions, but whenever your adrenaline's going, you're in that kinetic of an environment where it's going every single freaking day. All you do is fight, and then by the time you get home, you're kind of like the fog of war doesn't go away. It's like you're dreaming. Sometimes today, I feel like I'm dreaming. Like thoughts come back, and I'm kind of like, holy cow! Like, is this real? Like, I gotta like pinch myself. Like, am I still alive? Like, what was that?
Let me just throw this out there.
Yeah.
I know when you first come on the show, and a lot of guys do, a lot of times we kind of sugarcoat our story and just kind of go through it, and we use humor for, just coping in a lot of ways, right? But when you look at the situations that you see, I mean, some of it just seems so ridiculous, and it could, because you can't like associate anything that we did in combat to the real life society. And I mean when I say real life society, it's the bubble of freedom.
Yes.
It's this really imaginary, like, it's this crazy world. It's a circus in the freedom bubble where everybody gets to be free, and say weird things and do weird things, right? Because we come back, we're like, hey man, we were just out past the line and there was this real crazy stuff going on that's real, and it's life and death.
Yeah.
And now we come into the freedom bubble and we have to laugh at it because we can't like associate it. So I started this other series called Creating Chaos, and it's all about how we really get into the mindset. And I'd love for you to get back on this at some point to do that, Creating Chaos, and really talk about some of these deeper things. And you will, and you've touched on them all the time with me. You've gone to warrior groups, you know how important they are, and obviously you know how important it is to engage in really good things so that you can get past some of these things. And it's not like we're ever going to forget it or get past it. It's that we just learn to cope with it differently, and hopefully good enough to make a good life for ourselves. And that's something that you've done. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, it sounds like you're giggling at these things, but people won't understand. So I'm giving the disclaimer right now that, it may look like it's like this funny freaking circus out there in combat.
It's a coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism. And and some of our buddies that have dealt with this have ended their lives, have messed up their lives, have a whole hard problem in life. And, you can only look at it and laugh or cry or be totally jacked up yourself. And I think, you're a great example of somebody who is really kind of pulled through and still trying to always stay on top of his game. But, there's still you always come back. You're at the groups. You're at doing, you're still doing a lot of things that work for you. And that's impressive. So continue, man. I didn't mean to take. I wanted to put the disclaimer out there because some people will be like, damn, this show's crazy. This guy was laughing about. No, it's comical. It's comical in the sense that you can't
especially
imagine
to
the
Marines and corpsmen that have been there. Like, I mean, and I think, dude, you hit it on the spot because, like, I talk to even Marines that like haven't seen combat, don't understand it. I know some Marines that are like, dude, like that's pretty dark. Like whenever I actually expose like stuff that we've been through, like I mean, there's some pretty gnarly crap. I can really get into detail. That'd probably make people freaking puke all over the place.
Yeah, we'll do that in Creating Chaos. On your show. It'll be your show, Creating Chaos, and why we function well in chaos. Sometimes it carries over.
Whenever you tell your buddies, I hope you go headbutt an IED. Like in a joking manner, people don't get that. Like, what? Is he serious? Whenever your friends are like, you go headbutt an IED, bro. And like anybody else outside of the Marine Corps or combat Navy, it's like, what the like how do you pull the pin and swallow that grenade? Like people don't understand. Like everybody's heard go start a 9mm. But you take these dark things. You take these things that are super dark to a lot of people, and you have to laugh about it. If not, it's a coping mechanism. Like for me, it's definitely coping. I try to bring out the best in things. Maybe I'm an optimist. And one of the reasons I'm kind of glad to be on here, you hit it on the spot, was guys that can't handle it. One of the reasons, what really motivates me to go to Warrior Built, some of the things that motivate me to go on the show is I had a guy that was really close to me freaking kill himself a couple of months ago, and this Marine, badass dude, he did boot camp SOI, School of Infantry. He did 3 combat tours with 3-7 with me, and then he went over to a Pendleton unit. I don't know off the top of head which one it was, but he ended up killing himself. And if you would have known, you would have had no idea. He always had a smile on his face, and it's just like, if I could help one guy, one Marine, one sailor, I don't know. Maybe if they're struggling getting a job, maybe I could help them. like maybe even just a hug could have saved him. You know what I mean? Like, and it kind of drives me insane because, like I said, I'm an optimist and I see the good in people. Um, I was talking to you the other day, how we're surrounded by heroes. We don't even think about it. Like we don't even like we I take it for granted all the time until I stop and I look around and I'm surrounded by teachers. I'm surrounded by police. I'm surrounded by fire. I'm surrounded by people that are like, you know what? Hey, this is my safety net. This is my family. Nah, fuck it. I'm gonna go protect other people I don't know. I'm gonna put all my freaking my safety net. I'm gonna put everything aside, and I'm gonna go protect people that I don't even know. Like we're surrounded by such great people, and one of the things is you, especially police, fire, EMT, like they see some gnarly stuff too. You don't know what they're going through, and if I could help just one of them, if somebody were to like shake my hand and be like, dude, like that hug a year or two back, like dude, I'm working, I'm smiling, like I no longer have those thoughts because you gave me the inspiration. If I can inspire one hero, military or not, like there's so many that deserve so much more than they get credit for, and I'm here, like I want to help them, and this is kind of my I've always been inspired to help people, because it helps me cope with my own problems. Because of course, like I have my own nightmares, my own traumatic brain injury. Like you'd said, I got blown up a few times. 3 on my first, and then 3 on my third deployment, and then 3 on my fourth deployment. And I just want to go out there and kind of inspire people. Maybe this will inspire a hero. It doesn't have to be military, because I mean, shoot, fire, EMT, all the police, they see some nasty stuff. If this can inspire them to talk about it, and kind of let those demons out, because you especially know, PTSD of America and stuff. Prolonged exposure works, and so me talking about it is a release. Like, in the beginning of this podcast, like I could feel my heartbeat just pounding, just like as if I was there. Even though I'm laughing about it, I'm having a heart attack inside of me. you know.
Yeah.
But now I can feel my blood pressure drop. Just like prolonged exposure. Now I'm kind of like, oh crap, I can relax now. Like I'm home. Like I'm talking to Aaron.
Yeah, and I just want to put this out as like, having this conversation with you, or any conversation, we have
Yep.
conversations a lot lately, because there's some guys that have been needing some help and support, and
Yes.
and it doesn't mean that they need help. They didn't ask for help necessarily, but somebody said, "Hey, can you reach out to this guy and find some help?" Because you're a resource with job opportunities, and we'll get into that too. But you also hit some really cool things. One is, I like, you say you're surrounded by heroes, and we're surrounded by heroes. And
Mhm.
I come to realize, like, I'm not a hero, but I got to play one in real life every once in a while. And I mean that.
Yeah.
And I mean this, like, I already went to combat. I did everything that was like the coolest, most in depth, most earth shattering, most heartbreaking, most intense things you can do on the planet. And you got to come back home and you got to take out the trash. You got to humble yourself. But somebody somewhere is going to say thank you for your service. And I take that as an opportunity to share something with them. And you know what I get back? Sometimes I get back a really cool story that I've never heard before. And I think those stories and it's a story from maybe some of their family members that was a hero, and they get to experience that, and they get to share that moment with me because they served in the military. And I've heard this really awesome story before about that. But you're right. You talk about some, if a hug can help you stay alive today, and you never know, man. It's not until like years later you're going to hear something like, man, dude, if it wasn't for you that one time, I wouldn't be here right now. And I hear that sometimes a lot more than I want to, but I do hear it. It's like, hey man, if this warrior group didn't exist, I wouldn't be here. And I'm like, well, shoot, I can't take Tuesday off.
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because it's these things, man. It's really cool that you come on the show and you kind of feel that adrenaline rush. And that's the other thing I talk about is like, you might get triggered today, but you're processing something, and you might not sleep good
Yes.
tonight. You might not sleep good tonight, but tomorrow night you might sleep a little bit better because you
Yep.
really put yourself into that mode. You went into some thought processes, you processed them a little bit, and now tomorrow you're going to have maybe a little bit better day, or you're going to think about something that's really intense, but you have battle buddies you can focus on. You have battle buddies you can reach out to, and you can talk to me, or you can talk to any one of the guys. We talk to so many guys at Warrior Build and the PTSD Foundation of America. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, heck,
continue.
I mean, there's so many people that have helped me. You're one of them. Obviously, all the guys in Warrior Built, they have no idea that they helped me, but they do. You know, like like me helping them actually helps me. So, and like I mean, I've been extremely fortunate in my progress at my transition out of the Marine Corps. I've had a lot of things, a lot of people to thank, that have helped me, uh, guide me, point fingers, give me resources, kick me in the butt whenever I'm not moving fast enough. I mean, you name it. There's been such great people in my life. I'm extremely fortunate for. Um, all the people in Wounded Warrior Battalion, Terry Templeton, my current broker, Daryl Self, he helped me out a lot getting out of the Marine Corps. He got awarded for housing over 1,000 friggin' homeless veterans before he even got to me. So I was like, I don't even know what number I was, but I was
What a
one of
number.
them. Yeah, I was a number, and you know what? Thanks to him, like I was able to transition smoothly because he gave me a place to stay. He at the time I was going through a really really rough patch in my life. It's funny. I just shared something on Facebook the other day. Like, I hope your life is as good as your Facebook page. And mine is not. Mine is not. Everybody looks at Facebook and sees like, oh my God, like Jacob's doing a great job. They have no idea, like the struggles, it's funny that I posted that and now I'm on this show. Like I was like, of course, but that's the way things work. And I have a lot of things to be thankful for. And I just hope that one day I will live up to that level. And they're going to be like, dude, like, thanks to this guy, like, I was able to have a home to go shit, shower, and shave. And so I could go to my job and look professional. I had a place to hang up my polo shirt. Like, I had a place to do my laundry. I had a place to brush my teeth. And thanks to this, like, I was able to land a rad career, and I mean, I wake up at 0300 every morning. I don't watch fucking bullshit TV. I educate myself first thing in the morning. I exercise. I drink plenty of water. Um, there's a lot of stuff people don't see too, and a lot of it is self-discipline and discipline from the Marine Corps. Because whenever I was in the Marine Corps, I was like, oh, I hate this stuff. But now I'm like, oh man, like they were teaching me a good thing, like get up early and brush your teeth and get some exercise in before you start the day. It's actually helped me stay focused. A whole bunch of other stuff. Like I have a couple of things I'm working on. I'm obviously in my transition. Another thing too, for if there's any Marines or sailors or Army, whatever, if there's anybody listening that is scared to get out, good, because I was scared deathless. I was so scared to death getting out of the military. I didn't want to get out. I was halfway there. I was going to be a chief warrant officer, but things happened. On my fourth deployment, I hit my last IED. And I got my last concussion, and then they were kind of like, I remember my best friend, Jeff Mahaffey, friggin', we were back home hanging out. I'll just say that. And he was like, dude, you need to go see somebody. And I was kind of like, and of course, like I'm 5'4". So if you're short and you realize it, you surround yourself with big people. So I'm looking at Jeff like, all right, I'll go. And so I ended up going, and they started going through. They were like, how many IEDs you've been hit by? Looking at this checklist, and the doctor kind of looks at me. He's like, going through your the SIGAX and your medical record. It says you've been hit, this many times. And I was like, yeah. He's like, what was your next plan? I was like, well, I don't know. I'm going to re-enlist. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm like, excuse me? Like, who are you? And he ended up, I ended up getting retired out of the Marine Corps at 10 years. But so I had to get out unexpectedly. So I was like, who the heck is going to hire a machine gunner? I don't know if anybody knows this, but machine gunning is not really a transferable skill as much as I wished it was. But McDonald's ain't hiring machine gunners. I'm sorry. It's not happening. So I was kind of like, crap. And thanks to like Terry Tippleton, like she was shuffling through jobs and I grew up in the oil industry, and my dad was safety. And she's like, oh, look, OSHA 10. I was like, oh, my gosh, a light bulb went on. I was like, sign me up for that class. I was like, I need to go to that class. Like, I was like, I just realized, like, I have a safety cert already from whenever I was 16, and then I just took it and I ran with it, I ended up landing a safety job where I consult for OSIP and like owners. So big owners like California, USC, anybody with a big enough project where they can get in control of the insurance, they will pay me to consult for them. And I'm just an occupational health and safety guy. So I study OSHA, I study clean rooms, depending on what you're doing. Like if you're doing a hospital or a clean room, you got to go to the specific training, like clean room training and infectious control, stuff like that. So like once you get your training certs, you can teach people how to use PPE, such as like right now, you can go to OSHA training and learn how to use a mask properly if you want to. You can train people on clean room protocol, fall protection, all that stuff. So that was kind of easy for me because I took the Marine Corps rules and regulations, and I set those guys down, and I picked up the OSHA rules and regulations. I traded it, and that's why there's this guy named Russell Levy, and the BCI team that picked me up in the first place. They go down to Camp Pendleton, and I like to help as much as I can when because they have very few spots for teachers. And I'm usually pretty busy, but they help veterans every single weekend, or at least all the time. They teach Marines, all veterans. They go in there. They teach them the OSHA 10 hour, and once they get their OSHA 10 hour, which is free. In fact, I think you get 2 free lunches by a nonprofit called Veteran Transition Services that Russell Levy started. And if you don't like it, like you have an OSHA 10 for the rest of your life. It's transferable. It only took you a weekend, but you got to give up one of your weekends. You got to sacrifice. Then you keep going on and on and on. And I like to point veterans in that direction because they have the discipline to show up on time. They have the discipline to stay true to their word as far as like the OSHA book is concerned. They have a bit of a backbone. They don't mind making unpopular decisions, and it's not necessarily easy, but it's not that challenging for somebody of a structure to pick up a set of rules because veterans are constantly taught rules and regulations, and all they have to do is pick up another set and go, do good by the owners and make sure like you'll be trained and everything, but it's a great transition job. In fact, it's a good life job. It pays really nicely. It's a great career to transition to. I'll just say that it won't be long before they get enough certs that they can make six digits. As long as they put in the effort, they'll start off kind of low, but it'll pay the bills, but it's a lot better than like going to a lower end job thinking that that's all they're capable of, which I know lots of people in the military, and they need to set their goals a little higher. I could definitely, I see so many veterans with so much potential. I just want to like push them, like, come on, guys, come on, so many guys what's that, the gentleman you just sent me? He's going to do great.
Yeah, that's Chris Little. That's Chris Little. Yeah.
Dude, that dude's going to take off like a skyrocket. He's going to surpass me by far. You can just tell some people got the personality that they can take safety and turn it into a good thing, because there's so many construction guys that think that safety is a 4-letter word, but it's really a 6. But the way they talk about safety, it seems like it's 4-letter word. But either way, transitioning. Also, I recently got my real estate license. I'm trying to take that a little further. It's creeping slower than I originally had hoped and dreamed for. But like I said, I wake up at 3 o'clock every morning. I freaking put my boots on and start grinding. Like
you talked about that you're getting into the VA loans from the ground to the build to all the stuff that needs to happen. I mean, there's a lot of bureaucracy in between there, obviously.
So my brokerage,
Right.
did 22 years in the Marine Corps. I mean, shoot, like he is extremely good at land and development. He's teaching me and some other veterans. He started a program where if you did 20 years in the service, you go through this program, and the government will pay you to sit through these classes and learn how to be a real estate agent. It's pretty cool. But yes, we obviously, if he did 22 years in the Marine Corps, he knows a little bit about VA loans. He's been in the real estate industry. Shoot, I'd say over 20 years. I think he said. I'd have to double check with him. So our team, mostly veterans. There's a few civilians, but they're really good with VA loans. They do the construction. So if you don't like anything that's out there, if you find a plot of land, we'll do a VA construction loan, and get whatever you want built. It's up to you. I can't tell you what to build, so you got to tell me what you want to build. And we can at least point you in the right direction, guide you, and make sure that it happens. But at the end of the day, they're in the driver's seat.
Nice. Yeah, one thing about this is like Jacob's full of all kinds of information. He went the safety route. He's got all these guys, these connections. And what happens is I have these conversations with combat vets every day, and sometimes they're like, "Hey, if I just had this job, that would blah blah blah," and then I'm like, "Hey, man, I know this guy Jake. He's a good guy, a Marine, and he ends up being a contact, an irrelevant contact that didn't necessarily need to be in there, but because you're there, a lot of these guys that were on their last like rope, matter of fact, one guy before the last one I gave you, he's dealing with a lot of stuff, and if you isolate yourself long enough, you can be dealing with some things, and you got these mindsets that may be a little scary to some people, but they're not scary to guys like us. So
Yes.
we listen to some really cool craziness out there. But at the end of the day, we have some opportunities that may really super impact someone's life. And I don't know where that leads. And, I don't know the impacts that I bring or Jake brings, or but it's because we have each other that makes it real. And Jake, if you if you want to just give any last words or anything else you want to talk about that you feel is important. I mean, there'll be a lot of people listening to this later on, and later on, I'd definitely like to have you back in Creating Chaos with Jake Mcmillin. Kind of really getting into some more more darker stuff that you can really go into and just be like, why you really crashed here or there. Obviously your life wasn't roses when you got out, but you've had your ups and downs, but you've really pushed for the successful type motivation. And you talked about some coping mechanisms that you do. Obviously the gym is one of your biggest coping mechanisms, and you talk about that a lot too. Health, you've talked about that in the past too. So, I mean, there's some really important things that, we as veterans that have gone through it and maybe even challenged ourselves to making life still pleasant or still an option. We have to have those coping mechanisms in place to make sure that it's good to go.
Yeah, I definitely, like you said, I want to help people. I love helping people. It helps me. That's one of my coping mechanisms is helping others. With the guys at Warrior Built, I love whenever I get thrown a guy who needs a job. I can help train them. I train people all the time to be safety professionals, and they get well into their career, and it pays the bills. Hopefully soon I'll be reaching out to you. I'm kind of new to the real estate industry, but I hope to teach people there too. I would like to have a plethora, like, hey, what do you want to do? Choose one. But definitely coping mechanisms, the gym. Definitely recently, last year or so, just not drinking, staying focused in physical fitness, turning emotional pain into physical pain in the gym, in a healthy manner. Definitely that, and it's just staying focused, prolonged exposure is another thing. Like, this is definitely going to help me. Talking with the guys at Warrior Built, even listening to people, it helps, because it brings back those memories. And the more and more you think about them, the less and less painful they get, like ripping off a Band-Aid, and just, I just really, I love meeting great people, and I love helping people that really deserve something. People saw stuff in me I didn't see in myself, and they helped me along the way, and to get to where I am now, because I definitely didn't make it here by myself. It definitely wasn't roses. It wasn't a smooth mountain to get to where I am. I'm still struggling every day, but I still keep pushing. I wake up, I shit, shower, and shave, and I grind. I'm constantly educating myself. Like now, thanks to my experience at war, like, time is valuable, and I don't want to waste it. I definitely look forward to the next day. That I love seeing that sunrise, and I love seeing that sun fall. There's definitely, there's so much beauty in this world, and people sometimes need to stop and look around and look at the beautiful people we're surrounded by. There's so much negativity in the world, so much negativity. The news, negative. The TV, negative. There's so much freaking negative in the world. People need to stop. Look at each other, like we're in a beautiful world. Have you seen that sunset? Like has anybody seen those fucking mountains? They're gorgeous. They're freaking beautiful. How about you stop and look at them? Look at your family. I think I'm guilty. I get caught in the zone, and I just keep pushing. I forget what's around me. I get in the zone, and I totally forget to stop and look around. And I appreciate everything you've done for me, Aaron, all the people in my life. I hope to inspire other veterans, especially because, there was an entire battalion that was with me. Like it wasn't just me. I was surrounded by some rad freaking dudes that need to be on this show. You know, like there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's. I hope that some really smart producer goes around and makes thousands of rad freaking movies about our deployments. Third Battalion said, yeah, call it 3-7. You know, you know.
Yeah,
But anyway,
and there are a lot of things going on, and I'd love to have
yeah.
them on the show, and really what I have to do a lot of times, I have to go around and just hit our guys up one by one and be like, hey man, do you want to be on my show this week? And they say yes. I don't got a bunch of dudes lined up saying, hey man, put me on your show. But it's cool
Yeah,
when I put you on the show, man. You were like all lit up by it, and it's really rad to see you kind of go with it. That optimism needs to happen a lot more. And you're right.
yes,
We all need to spend some time looking around us and finding that beauty in our lives that really, really, truly matters, because
yep,
it's short. Our lives are short. Time and quality of life for me. It is. It's a quality of life. And I feel like I just move through time very slow. Like I don't really think about it, but I love the time that I have with the people that I have and the things that I do. So it's just one
yeah.
of those things.
And
But
I
hey, if
definitely
somebody,
look
if
forward to creating chaos because I'm really good at that.
hey, real quick, man, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they can do it on my show, but any final words before we step off, it'd be great.
Hey, yeah, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Like I said, my they look kind of professional. But I mean, you can find me Jacob Mcmillin. Just Google it. I recently opened up my social medias and stuff to kind of help my real estate career as far as advertising. But you can obviously instant message me all you want. You have my phone number. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, they can contact Chief. And like I said, man, I appreciate it. I've loved our conversations recently. Like, I think me and you are on the same page. Like, I understand why you do it so much now. It feels good to help out. It really, and it definitely motivates me. Like, and it keeps, I just want to continue helping the veteran hero community. You know, I don't care who you are. Hero or not, friggin'. I don't think I'm a hero. I think I'm surrounded by them, and
But
I just wish
you play.
somebody,
Hey, you still play one in real life every once in a while, man.
yeah,
Just keep that in
every
mind.
once in a while I got to put the hat on, but,
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity to release some of the story, some of the pressure, because talking about it actually helps no matter who you are. And I appreciate the opportunity, Aaron.
Thanks, Jacob. I appreciate you. Hey, this is Combat Vet Vision. This is where we get to talk about our opinions, and you just never know who you're going to come across, what you're going to deal with in life, and sometimes life is so freaking crazy. And when you come back to America, and I'm just going to say, there's a lot of things going on in America that you can twist, you can turn, you can make, and freedom's free, so you can twist it however you want, but it's still free. One last thought I just want to put out there is like. Um, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that I do throughout the week. There's a lot of things that I coordinate with a lot of different combat vets, combat organizations, cool things that really make a difference. And this show is just a small impact of that. So I just want to say, hey, thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for kind of gathering some thoughts and listening to some raw stuff. And not really as raw as it truly is, because I think we all have this filter that we just kind of put in place, especially because society is requiring it, and so are the airwaves, or the waves to be. They're requiring it. So hey, till next time, this is Aaron Siebert signing off. Strength and honor out.